The year is 2025, a year that was supposed to be filled with promise and progress, now overshadowed by a looming threat. The news hits immigrant communities like a shockwave. Families who have built their lives here, who have contributed to the fabric of society, now face an uncertain future. Former President Donald Trump, back in the Oval Office, announces his plan. Mass deportations, starting now. The announcement is met with a mix of disbelief and dread. The timeline is brutal, the message clear: no one is safe. The countdown begins, and with it, a wave of fear sweeps across the nation. Francisca Lino, a mother who has called the U.S. home for decades, sits at her kitchen table, fear twisting her gut. She clutches a worn photograph of her family, memories of happier times flooding her mind. Her next check-in with immigration is looming. Will it be her last? The uncertainty gnaws at her, every passing day a reminder of the precariousness of her situation. Across the nation, families huddle, whispers filled with anxiety. Conversations that once revolved around dreams and aspirations now center on survival and contingency plans. The American dream, once so close, now feels impossibly distant. The uncertainty is suffocating. The promise of a better life, a future filled with opportunities, now seems like a cruel joke. Will they be torn from their homes, their jobs, their lives? The fear of losing everything they have worked so hard for is a constant gnawing presence. The fear is a palpable presence, a dark cloud hanging over dinner tables and playgrounds. Children sense the tension, their innocent questions met with forced smiles and evasive answers. The whispers grow louder, transforming into a chorus of fear echoing through immigrant communities. The sense of solidarity is strong, but so is the feeling of helplessness. The newscaster's voice drones on, detailing the plan's scope and severity. But for these families, the message is simple: they are not wanted. The cold, clinical language of policy masks the human cost. The future, once full of hope, is now shrouded in fear. The days ahead are uncertain, each one a step into the unknown. For these families, the question remains: what will tomorrow bring? Hold on, before we jump back in, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to My Great Mix, and turn on your notifications so you never miss the latest on immigration. Let's go! In the heart of Chicago, amidst the bustling streets and towering skyscrapers, Lincoln United Methodist Church stands as a beacon of hope, a sanctuary for those in need. Pastor Emma Lozano, her face etched with determination, makes a difficult decision, one that weighs heavily on her heart. To protect her undocumented parishioners from the increasing threats, Spanish services will move online, ensuring that faith and community remain unbroken. The sanctuary movement, a long-standing tradition of churches offering refuge, takes on new urgency in these trying times. Across the country, churches transform into havens, offering not just spiritual guidance but physical safety, a place where the vulnerable can find solace. Legal aid workshops, once sparsely attended, are now overflowing with people seeking help, desperate for guidance and support. The fear is real, the threat imminent. Families live in constant anxiety, unsure of what the future holds. But amidst the despair, a flicker of resistance emerges. Communities rally together, standing in solidarity. Cities, large and small, double down on their sanctuary status, vowing to protect their most vulnerable residents, ensuring that no one is left behind. The battle lines are drawn, with communities divided, some in support, others in opposition. On one side, a federal government intent on removing undocumented immigrants, enforcing strict policies. On the other, communities determined to protect their own, standing together in defiance, united by a common cause. In the midst of this struggle, life goes on. Children play, families gather, and hope persists. The church bell rings, a reminder that in the face of adversity, faith and community endure. In Washington, Democrats sound the alarm. Representative Zoe Lofgren, a staunch advocate for immigrants, proposes a bold strategy: non-cooperation with federal immigration authorities. If local law enforcement won't participate, the deportation machine grinds to a halt. The debate rages. Can sanctuary cities withstand the pressure? Will the federal government withhold funding, punishing those who dare to resist? The stakes are high, the outcome uncertain. But one thing is clear: Democrats are prepared to fight for their constituents to ensure that America remains a land of opportunity, not exclusion. Meanwhile, Republicans rally behind Trump's hardline stance. Senator Bill Cassidy, his voice booming through the Senate chamber, calls for an end to sanctuary cities. They harbor criminals, he thunders, and undermine the rule of law. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin echoes the sentiment, demanding stricter enforcement and harsher penalties. The GOP, united in their belief that a strong stance on immigration is crucial for national security, pushes their agenda: defund sanctuary cities, build the wall, deport them all. The message is clear. America is closed for business to those who enter illegally. The debate rages on, a stark reminder of the deep divisions within American society. The badge and the deportation order. The pressure mounts on local law enforcement. Trump's plan hinges on their cooperation. Programs like Secure Communities and 287G, which deputize local officers to enforce immigration law, are set to expand. The line between local cop and federal immigration agent blurs. Some police chiefs push back, arguing that their job is to protect and serve, not to be instruments of deportation. Others, feeling the pressure from the federal government, reluctantly comply. The consequences are immediate. Trust between immigrant communities and law enforcement erodes. The fear of deportation, once a whisper, becomes a constant companion. Fear on every corner, racial profiling, and the erosion of freedom. In today's society, the fear of being unfairly targeted based on one's race or ethnicity is a daily reality for many. The specter of racial profiling looms large, casting a shadow over communities and eroding trust in law enforcement. With increased scrutiny on immigration status, Latinos, regardless of their citizenship, find themselves targeted. This constant vigilance creates an atmosphere of fear and anxiety, affecting their daily lives and interactions. A routine traffic stop becomes a nerve-wracking encounter, where the fear of being unjustly detained or questioned is ever present. The simple act of driving can turn into a moment of dread. A trip to the grocery store, a potential run-in with ICE. Everyday activities are overshadowed by the possibility of confrontation, making it difficult for families to feel safe in their own communities. Civil liberties, once considered sacrosanct, are slowly chipped away. The rights that form the foundation of American democracy are under threat, as policies and practices that target specific groups become more prevalent. The Fourth Amendment, meant to protect against unreasonable searches and seizures, loses its teeth. The erosion of this fundamental right leads to a society where privacy is compromised and individuals are left vulnerable. The right to due process, a cornerstone of the American justice system, is trampled upon. When individuals are not afforded fair treatment under the law, the very principles of justice and equality are undermined. America, once a beacon of freedom, begins to resemble the very regimes it once condemned. The promise of liberty and justice for all is tarnished as the nation grapples with the consequences of racial profiling and the erosion of fundamental freedoms. A machine fueled by fear, expanding deportations. Tom Homan, the architect of Trump's deportation machine, outlines his plan. Targeted arrests of undocumented immigrants with criminal records, but the net is cast wide, ensnaring not just criminals, but also those guilty of minor offenses, even traffic violations. ICE, its ranks swollen with new recruits, becomes a formidable force, its presence felt in every corner of immigrant communities. Expedited removal procedures, a fast track to deportation that bypasses the courts, become the norm. Due process, a luxury for the privileged few. Families are torn apart, lives upended. The human cost of Trump's deportation plan is immeasurable. The voices behind the curtain: anti-immigration groups and their influence. Behind the scenes, anti-immigration groups like the Center for Immigration Studies and the Federation for American Immigration Reform celebrate their victory. Their influence on the Trump administration is undeniable. They are the architects of this policy, the voices whispering in the president's ear. Their message is simple: immigrants are a threat. They steal jobs, drain resources, and erode American values. Their rhetoric, often laced with xenophobia and fear-mongering, finds a receptive audience in a nation grappling with economic anxiety and cultural change. The deportation machine, fueled by fear and prejudice, rolls on. Confused about new immigration policies? Hit that like button and subscribe for quick updates and clear explanations right here on My Great Mix.